Hello. Hey, welcome to day 13. Um, my name is Tracy. And again, I'm doing a 100-day Facebook Live video with me and a few of my coaching friends. And the purpose of this is to help us to get rid of our fear of public speaking and to become more visible, as well as become a little more transparent and share more. So this is day 13, and I'm going over the 7 universal laws. Now, yesterday we went over the law of transmutation, and basically that law states that energy moves in and out of physical form. So your thoughts, your desires, your goals, all of these are creative energy, and the more you focus your thinking on a specific type of thing, whether it's positive or negative, the more it will manifest into your reality. Okay, that's pretty simple, right? Now the next law we're going to talk about is the law of gestation, which is one of my favorite laws, actually, because with this law, and sometimes it's called the law of patience and time. But this law states that everything takes time to manifest, and that all things have a beginning and all things grow into form as more energy is added into it. So a good example of that is just like a baby, right? It gestates in the womb for 9 months. And just like the bamboo tree, it takes about 5 years for it to even sprout out the ground before it grows into a 90-foot tree. So the same thing is with our thoughts, with our goals, with our desires. They're just like seeds, and they are planted into our fertile minds or our fertile hearts, and eventually they will manifest into our reality, if nourished correctly, right? So this is with any type of creative or creation process or transition. They all experience a period of gestation, and it's necessary. It's a necessary part of the process. So it can't develop or manifest without that period of gestation. And so this law lets you know that everything has a period of gestation, and we don't have control over how long that period of gestation is. That is strictly up to the Creator, God. But do keep in mind that if you are not aligned, if your energy does not match that which you are trying to manifest, then you can kind of prolong that gestation period. So you have to be emulating that energy into whatever it is that you're wanting to manifest, or to create. And I think, and this is pretty much true with everything. There's a period where you just kind of have to be patient and wait. And I think that period is like a blessing in disguise, because during that time we're growing and we're developing the things and the gifts that we need to even walk in that harvest, or carry out that goal, or that finished product, or that that creation that we're trying to make. That period of gestation, I think, is for us to kind of develop the things that we need before we reap it. So like the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. Or my favorite one, which is Hebrew 11:1. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So you have to really know that your goals will manifest in divine timing, because a lot of us are giving up. A lot of us are doubting ourselves because we are in this gestation period and we don't understand the significance of the waiting. When nothing is showing and nothing is growing and nothing is happening, we get discouraged during this period. And we have to be able to understand that everything is in divine timing, that meaning that it will happen when it is time for it to happen, when we are ready for it to happen. And just like a baby, once it has gestated and received all the nourishment and everything that it needs to now be birthed into the world, the water breaks and the labor pains begin, and you push out this beautiful creation. The same thing with your goals, with your desires, with your thoughts. If it has not manifested yet, it's because it's not ready. You're not ready. And what is going on during this time again is you're building your story. You're learning the pains that come with this. You're learning how to be patient. You're learning some wisdom, and you're learning a lot of things during this time. Like I said, this is the time that you are developing into the person that is supposed to carry out the manifestation. You're developing into that person, because trust me, you're not going to be the same person who planted the seed. You're going to be a whole totally different person who reaps the harvest, right? You're going to be two different people. There's going to be a transformation during that season, to where you planted it to the time that you reap it. And so that gestation period is necessary for that growth. And I know a lot, like with me, with my finances, right? There just may be some things that you need to know before you come into this place of abundance or prosperity. And with me, it was always my finances, And I had to realize that if I was not being a responsible steward over the money that I was making through my employer, or through my investor that I like to call my employer, then how am I to expect for God to bless me, or for me to attract more money? So sometimes there's just things that we have to learn, lessons that we have to learn first before we can bring forth this harvest. Even if it's $8 an hour, or if it's $17 an hour, we have to be able to show God and to prove to ourselves that we can be responsible over the little blessings first. And then, of course, more will be added into us, like the man and the talents in the Bible. So I'm getting off the subject here, but just letting you guys know the importance of the gestation period. There's a lot of things going on during that period that is necessary for you to grow into the person God has destined you to be. So I just want to go over some ways to transition, or to ease the transition of this gestation period, and how to take full advantage of this law of gestation, which I believe these universal laws really relate to anyone, regardless of your religion, your sex, your age, your race. These laws are universal and can be applied to just about any of our lives. And so for the gestation period, one way that you can ease the transition is just to trust the process, right? And just let it go. Don't rush it, because you can't rush this period. You just can't rush it. And when we understand that the law of gestation, when we understand it, then we can have this peace in knowing that it is value in the growth that is not showing, that is not visible to the outside world, that is growing in the inside. Darian, can you please answer your brother, because he's screaming loud? So yeah, we have to have peace in knowing that it is value in the growth that is only showing from the inside. So I think, like, sometimes I think we try to rush things. We try to rush our goals and our visions, just so we can show it off. Just so we can show people, look, this is what I've been doing. Look, here's my fruits. you know, so that we can show it off. And but just like a pregnant woman, right? You know, there's a time that you just don't show. You know, like when you're pregnant, there's a time that you don't show, and there's a time that you don't even tell people you're pregnant until you reach a certain part of the trimester. Then you start telling people, yeah, I'm pregnant. And then you start to show a little bit. So people are starting to see like, okay, yeah, there is something growing inside of her, right? There is something growing inside of her. And that's the same thing when you're pregnant with possibility. At first, it may not show, but you know that there's something stirring in the inside of you. You know that there's something growing on the inside of you. And then once you decide to tell people, hey, look, I have this seed that I've planted. And people may not see it, it may not show, but after a while, people start to see, okay, yeah, okay, I'm seeing something is planting inside of her, or something is stirring up in the inside of her. Because, you know, the way she's showing up in the world, she's changing, he's changing, he's doing things differently, she's doing things differently. So then this seed will start to show. And just like when a woman is pregnant, no one knows what it is until it's birthed. So although it's showing and we can see that something is pretty much growing in the inside of you, no one knows what it is. And sometimes you don't even know what it is until it's birthed. And that's the same thing with your goals and your desires. There's this time where there's going to be some things growing on the inside of you that no one is going to be able to see. And then once it's birthed, then you'll be able to say, look at my creation, right? Look at my seed, look at my fruits, right? And so we have to trust that process and know that things are stirring up and growing up in the inside that's not visible for people to see yet, right? But it's something growing inside of you. So we have to just trust that process until it's time to push. Until it's time to push. Another way is to just honor the season of gestation. Just honor it. Honor it, honor it, and know that during the season of patience that there are some things, some powerful things growing and powerful things working from the inside and working internally that's going to manifest externally, because we know that there's a season to plant something and to sow something. There's a season where you have to kind of tend to it and kind of be patient and wait. And then there's a season for you to reap the harvest, right? And eat. So there's seasons. So you want to honor each season because each season is extremely important. They're all significant in what it is that you're trying to manifest or what it is that you're trying to grow. So honor the season and just know that there's a lesson to learn during each season that is required. It's required. So when we learn to, I think some of the things that happens in the season is that we learn how to let go of things. We learn how to embrace the new things that serve us and let go of the things that no longer serve us. It's pretty much a time of reflection and learning, and you know, this is a powerful time. You know, it's a time to just be, not to do, but to kind of embrace that feminine energy of just being and being still and just letting things take its course. And so if you know this, then you can honor the season of gestation or the transition when nothing is showing, but when you know that something is growing in the inside, right? You won't be so quick to try to show it off to the world, whether people are doubting that it even exists or not, or if anything is growing or not, you know, okay? And you have to honor that season. Another way, and the last way, is to just recognize the gifts along the way. There's going to be gifts that you're going to start to develop along the way, during this transition. I like to say picking up gems and putting it in your crown, back to your throne, right? There's going to be gems and diamonds and wisdom, nuggets of wisdom that you're going to pick up to put in your crown on your way back to your throne. And so These gifts can be, you may grow courage and this confidence, or this new understanding about life, and this new understanding about others, this new understanding about yourself. You just simply may have, or start seeing the world through new eyes. These are some of the gifts that will come about along the way. You may start to cultivate patience, right? And know the importance of just patience and being still. You may even cultivate the, how to just release the pressure of trying to be perfect, or trying to put off this image that everything is okay, and then, just stop trying to be perfect. You may start to find that you're more beautiful when you are your authentic self, right? When you are your authentic self. So these are just some of the gifts that you may start to recognize along the way. And so just recognize those gifts, celebrate them, know that they are necessary for you, because once you reap that harvest, again, you're not going to be the same person who planted the seed. And so the law of gestation helps us to honor that patience and that time that comes from the time that we plant a seed to the time that we reap the seed. Okay, so I really want to, I'm going to stop it right there, but I would love to hear about how you are, how are you going through this season of gestation? Like, how are you honoring this season where you just have to wait and be patient for something to grow and manifest? One thing that someone pointed out to me during one of their videos was, we see about 50 or 60 or 100 views, but not too many people will like or share or comment on our live videos. And it's not that we're looking for any type of validation, but my question is, why is it so hard for us to acknowledge people in their, in the season when they're growing and finding out who they are, and stepping outside of their comfort zone, and doing something good or great for themselves? Why is it so hard for us to recognize people who are stepping out of their comfort zone? It's like we don't want them to know that we are seeing them, or that we are watching them, or paying attention to them, which you may not, but why is it so hard for us to celebrate others? Like, why is it so hard for us to do that? And, it just was brought to my attention, so many views, but only one like. So what is people viewing it and saying, okay, whatever, next? Or are people just being nosy, and don't want, you to know that they're watching? I don't know why I brought that up, but I thought I should. Like, share, comment. Let me know that you're out there, that you're watching. Share with me again how this season of, like, what are your thoughts? Like, I don't want you to agree with everything I'm saying. What are your thoughts? What are your opinions about these laws? And do you feel like they exist? Do you believe in them? Like, what have you learned about this type of stuff? So I would love to hear from you. And I will see you guys tomorrow when I talk about the third universal law. So thanks again for tuning in, whether you came in during the live or whether you are looking at the recording. Thanks again for giving me your time, and stay in your light. Be blessed. Bye. Oh, wow, 19 minutes. That was long.